Hello. Hello. Good evening. Look at this full stage. Oh, my goodness sake. Go big or go home, right? All right. I want to take a moment and welcome everyone. I think everyone's come in from outside. We have one other candidate making their way in, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Pastor Bailey, would you go ahead, please, and come up and open us in prayer?
Praise the Lord. Good evening, everyone. Before I pray, I had a prayer request for a person named Anna Volker. I heard she was a very hard-working person in Saxton, Missouri. Please keep her family lifted up in prayer. She died yesterday, so really, really pray for her family. Okay, meet the candidates. Okay, again, good evening, everyone. Please join me as I go before the Lord to ask His blessing upon this great event. I'd like to begin with a quote from one of our founding fathers, Daniel Webster. Webster was a senator, Secretary of State, and a defender of the Constitution, and he had a special relationship with a man named Paul Jennings. For you history buff, look that up, Paul Jennings and Daniel Webster. And he said, his quote was, "The Christian religion in general principles must be regarded among us as foundation of our civil society. Whatever make men a good Christian make men a good citizen. To be free and universal reading of the Bible, men are much indebted for right views of civil liberty. The Bible is a book which teaches man his own individual responsibility, his own dignity, and his equality with his fellow man, and that is very important. So let us pray. Holy Father, we acknowledge your presence tonight. It is very important, gathering of people who come to share their hopes, their thoughts, and agenda in creating a better city, a better state, and a better country for all of us. As we act out as watchmen, give us wisdom and knowledge, and most of all, love to discern what we need to know to be a good citizen of our land. Bless the organizers of this event, the Gardens of Liberty. Bless the pastor of this church, the participants, and all the guests. Be with us this evening, and again, grant us wisdom and knowledge that we all come together and receive and get what we are looking for to keep this country great, in Jesus' name. Now, Holy Spirit, you be in charge and oversee this meeting, and I pray this in the mighty and precious name of Yeshua, Jesus. Amen.
Thank you very much. So my name is Jan Farrar, and I am the current chair of Guardians of Liberty in Southeast Missouri, and I welcome each one of you here this evening. This is not on my schedule, and I'm never very good at sticking with my schedule, but I would like for the officers to please stand up. And so Rita Lavanchi is back here. She is the vice chair. And Diane Jordan right here in the center. She is the secretary. And our treasurer, Laura McGinty, could not be here this evening. And Darcy Lilly, Dr. Lilly, where are you? Back here in the very back, she is our member at large. You guys, it takes all of us, and everyone here in the blue shirts and some not in blue shirts have been so instrumental in pulling this together, so a big thank you to everyone. I also would like to thank Pastor Mark Carball, and he is back here behind the sound booth. Thank you so much, Pastor, for opening up the doors for us for this event. Everyone, please take out your cell phones. This is important. Take them out. Silence them. Behind us, the cell phones that we all get caught up in, right? Silence them, please. Thank you very much. That's the only bossy thing I'm going to say tonight. Maybe. Okay. If you go over 4 minutes, that might be another bossy thing. Okay, so a few housekeeping rules before we carry on. The bathrooms are out these doors, this way, down at the end of the hall. Next, there are Missouri Constitutions straight in the back. I would encourage everyone to take one. They are the latest version. Please take one. There are also small water bottles back there for you. I would also like to bring your attention to your program that you received. If you would take that out and open it up, because we do have a few changes. First, I want everyone to know that I went to the Secretary of State. I emailed them and asked for their roster after the closing of filing, and also Kara Clark, our county clerk. And so all of the contact information came straight from the Secretary of State and came straight from the county clerk's office. So the email or the phone number, we searched every candidate and tried our very best to get in touch with everyone. So emails went out with whatever you filed in those two places. So I have added I'm off script, gonna get back on. On the program, running for the U.S. District 8th, Franklin Roth, he is not here. He canceled this morning. Mary Elizabeth Coleman canceled last evening. And Bill Slants canceled later this afternoon. But if you would add where Mary Elizabeth Coleman's name is, we have Elad Gross, and I owe him a public apology because I missed his email. So everyone else replied. I went through them over and over. Okay, carrying on. At each exit door behind you is a donation box. If it should be on your heart at all to donate to the efforts of Guardians of Liberty, we engage, empower, and educate the citizenry, and we would greatly appreciate any support. All candidates, you will remain on stage until the conclusion of the closing prayer. Along each side of this room are their tables, and after the closing prayer, the candidates will proceed to those tables and visit with all of you voters individually. You can speak with them. Now to the candidates that are sitting up here on the stage, and we will begin with the candidates on my right, your left. We will proceed exactly as they are in order, as they are seated. Each candidate will have 4 minutes. You can see the time. Do the math real quick. We'll be here until midnight. If we didn't, it has to be 4 minutes. And you see the big clock out there? And then right here, Rox is going to hold up a big sign and give you your 1 minute warning right in front of you. And the mic will be muted at 4 minutes. I'm sorry, we've done too many things too many times. We have to do this. 4 minutes, and we're going to stay on target here. Okay, so candidates, please, already did that. Most importantly, to you, the voter, as you take notes and choose your candidate, choose who you will hire and send to their designated office. Please be sure to set your calendars and reminders, because no matter how you feel about things tonight, if you don't get out and vote on August 6th, moot point. So set your timers, set your calendars, put sticky notes up all over the place, right? Okay, so without any further ado, I'm going to introduce our first candidate, and this is Chad Armstrong, who is vying for coroner. Chad? I think this isn't.
Okay, thank you.
Is it on? It should be on.
Okay. All right. Are we on? Okay. All right, I'm hearing up. All right, is that better? All right, my name is Chad Armstrong. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Guardians of Liberty, for hosting this event and giving us an opportunity to come and share with you guys today. As you mentioned, my name is Chad Armstrong. I am running for coroner. I am running because I have a desire to help those throughout the county, throughout the community. I have seen over the last 3+ years the office of coroner and what has gone on. I definitely believe there is a need for change. I believe that we need to restore the leadership of the office. I believe we need to restore the trust in the office that is there. As coroner, I believe the most important job for the coroner is to determine the cause and manner of death. I am a physician. I work at St. Francis ER. I've been here for 12 plus years working in the ER. I believe a physician is the most qualified person to determine the cause and manner of death. And that also is why I'm running. I believe I provide great leadership, and I can bring a lot to the table. I have been involved in medicine for 24 plus years. I spent time as a firefighter and an EMT before I started medicine. I have since gotten back into that. I'm currently a volunteer with Millersville Fire Department. I also provide medical directorship for multiple fire departments and ambulance services. I have been involved in the emergency department, unfortunately, dealing with loved ones as they have had family members pass away. I've also been involved in the field and on scenes when there have been accidents and there have been deaths in the home. I have dealt with the families, both in the hospital and out and about in the community. I believe that the Office of Coroner is behind the times a little bit in Cape County. I believe we need to get in the 21st century and get to a medical examiner office. I am the only candidate as a physician who is qualified that could be appointed as a medical examiner. Again, medical examiner would be appointment versus coroner is an election. However, there is leadership that is provided with a medical examiner office. I believe that in and of itself provides significant qualifications for me. I have been involved in numerous death investigations. I've worked alongside the coroner office on scenes before. I have also taken different classes throughout the time looking at death investigations. I thank you for the time to listen to me, and I would hope that as a organization or as members of the community, you would like to move the Office of Coroner into a medical examiner office, show the county commissioners that you would like to have an improvement this way, and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Ted Ivy is running for coroner.
Everybody hear me okay? All right. First off, I'm a public servant. I'm not a politician. So public speaking is not my best suite, but I'm going to do my best up here for you guys. Might be looking at my phone quite a bit in my notes. My name's Ted Ivy. I'm running for coroner for Cape Girardeau County. I'm going to tell you a little about myself because that's why we're here tonight. I moved to Cape about 20 years ago and attended SEMO, where I graduated with a bachelor's in business administration, but it just wasn't quite enough for me. So I went back to school at the Cape CTC and got my EMT license and then furthered that into paramedicine. I eventually met my wife, Caitlin Mechie Ivy, who's in the audience over there. She's so beautiful. She's a multi-generational Cape resident. You may know the Mechies and Reimaners from the area. That's her family. She's a nurse and the assistant administrator at the Missouri Veterans Home, and she's also my treasurer. We have 4 kids together, Blake, Max, Hazel, and Olive. They're in Cape Central High School in Alma Schroeder. So we've been heavily involved in the Cape public school systems. I spent the last 11 years of my career at New Madrid County Ambulance District, 6 of those years as a station chief, and the last 2 as the assistant administrator for the county. So I'm not only comfortable with working in the field, but I'm also with the paperwork and the operations organizing the office. New Madrid County is where I was born and raised, but I'm ready to bring my public service up here to my home now, which is Cape Girardeau County. My family supports my lifestyle that comes with the type of service. Anybody that's a public service know that their sacrifices has to be made, and your family has to have your back. They understand there's times that I have to get up and go to serve my community. And between my wife's career and mine, holidays get to celebrate on random days. Sometimes we tell the kids today's Christmas when it's really not. It's just what you got to do to get through with what we do. I'm accustomed to being called out at 3 a.m. You know, that's the lifestyle I chose. That's what I've done the past 11 years. That's nothing new to me. And I know that my wife has my back whenever when I'm called to serve in that manner. I've been on scenes and know the way they run. I've worked closely with the New Madrid County Coroner for many years, and he shared some invaluable knowledge with me. As I said to him in the beginning, I'm not a public speaker, as you can probably tell, and I don't really consider myself a politician. But what I am, truly, is a public servant. That's why I've decided to run for this position, because it's what it needs. I hope you all will trust me with this position, and I would greatly appreciate your vote. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you very much. John Mackey, running for coroner.
Hello. Again, the name is John Mackey, and I guess what I'd like to do is tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a private investigator, been a private investigator for 20 years now. I'm also a death investigator, graduate from the Death Investigation Academy out of Cuba, Missouri, where I've taken the class not only once but twice. I got certified, plus I was trained by Medical Examiner's Office out of North Carolina for infant and child death investigations from scene to court. And the reason why I'm running for coroner is because I want to bring the trust back in. It's been a fiasco in the last 4 years, rushing and, people rushing death certificates and whatnot. But I'm also a father, I'm a husband. I got 4 children, 7 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren. Not too bad for 56 years old, huh? So, but I'm also, in my past, before even becoming a private investigator, I was a hospital corpsman in the Navy and a combat medic for the Army National Guards right here in Cape Girardeau with the 1140th. I don't know if there's anybody. I seen one Marine out here earlier. All right. Right on, man. So, but, to bring the trust back to the coroner's office is my main mission here. If I am elected, that's what I plan on doing. And also, gearing for that death investigations on the scene. At one time, I went to the Jackson Police Department when I was just considering running for coroner. This is back on the last time. And it was funny because the dispatcher said, all you do is pick up bodies, right? I said, well, no, not to my knowledge. We also do death investigations. We have to figure out why they died. The loved ones would like to know if the person had died of a homicide or a suicide or an accident overdose. You have the physicians in the emergency room, like our colleague down there. He gave a great speech. They are super, necessary for something like that. But to have the actual experience as a wrongful death investigator for private investigations, you're trained to look at blood splatters on the walls. You're trained to look at all the aspects of the case. And so what I promise to anybody who would vote for me, and if I did get elected, is a thorough and fair investigation so that the family can actually know the real reason of why somebody had passed away, instead of just trying to quickly do a death certificate so an insurance company can pay out to a funeral home or something. And plus my family, they look at me, I'm a very trustworthy individual. I know I say that as a private investigator, I can laugh at that. But trust is the big thing, and I plan on bringing the trust back into the coroner's office for Cape Girardeau County. Everybody deserves that. And I want to thank you for letting me talk up here. I'm not much of a speaker, and I'm certainly not a politician, but I do believe that the trust needs to be brought back into Cape County. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you very much. Mark Ceeseen, coroner.
Welcome to the Corner Hour. All right. First of all, I would like to thank the Guardians for allowing us this podium and microphone to speak with you all. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to educate yourself on the vote for this position. I think it is a very important vote this time around, and we appreciate your effort in learning who is who and what is what. I would like to also say I would like to have your support in your vote on August 6th for coroner of Cape Girardeau County. And lastly, I would like to say on that is that if I am, when I am elected, I hope we never meet professionally. All right, a quick bit on me. I'm a lifetime resident of Cape Girardeau. Was born at St. Francis Hospital, walked a half a block south there to 1008 Good Hope, where I have lived and been my permanent address my entire life. I went to St. Mary's Grade School, Notre Dame High School, then off to flight school, worked at the airport in Cape Girardeau for the first part of my life. Station manager, general manager, director of operations, airport manager, first full-time airport manager hired by the city. In 1983, I was fortunate enough to marry my best friend and the smartest lady I've ever known, Elizabeth, and we started a family in Cape Girardeau. In 1995, I felt the tuggings on my heartstrings that I was going to be called to do something different, and in January 15th, 1996, I went into the funeral profession. Became a licensed funeral director, went through school, graduated cum laude at mortuary school, and became a certified licensed embalmer. My short career of 28 years in the funeral business has brought me into contact with over 4,000 families, helping them through what could be the toughest time of their entire life. That is also something that I see very vital in our coroner's office, that it needs to have someone with compassion, with care, and able to relate with these families and help them out. In the early 2000s, I took a course called a mass fatality course put on by FEMA. After that, I was contacted by the Missouri Funeral Directors Association to help organize a disaster response team for the state of Missouri. We we organized, we equipped, and we educated a disaster response mortuary team to handle both Family Assistance Center and the Mortuary Operations Center. How many of you can remember what you were doing 13 years ago tonight? 13 years ago tonight, I was talking with the Corps of Engineers. They had breached the Bird Point levee and started a flood through the zone down near Charleston. Little did we know that in 24 hours, May 22nd, 2011, an F5 double helix tornado hit Joplin, Missouri. I was deployed to Joplin. I arrived there on Monday afternoon. It was determined that it was going to be much bigger than what we were going to be able to handle. We then deployed a DMORT team, which is a federal team. I became the liaison between the state and the federal teams. We processed 157 fatalities from Wednesday morning till Saturday evening and helped return those people to their family. This is part of the job of the coroner. I just bring that up to let you know that not only is it a disaster and an emergency when an individual dies at home, it's also a big emergency, and a mass fatality scenario is very, very high on the list of things we need to be able to deal with, because in the blink of an eye, it can change. I thank you for your time. My time is up. We appreciate you all being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Craig Williams, coroner.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Craig Williams, and I'm hoping to be your next Cape Girardeau County coroner. I want to thank the Guardians of Liberty and the Rock of Cape Church for hosting this event and giving us all a chance to speak tonight. I am a fifth-generation funeral professional with a license in embalming and funeral directing. I own and operate Cape Mortuary Service, and I'm the current president of the SEMO Funeral Directors Association, and most importantly, current deputy coroner for Cape Girardeau County. As we all know, our county coroner's office, and especially our families in the county, have been through a turmoil that no office should have to go through. On February 22nd, I was appointed by our beloved Sheriff Ruth Ann Dickerson with the approval of our county commissioners. I was asked to come back in the office to help Mr. Scott Wren and David Taylor to restore the order to the office, but to also bring back the professionalism, trustworthiness, dedication, and compassion that not only the people deserve, but the title itself deserves. When I first came in, there were incomplete death certificates, incomplete files, and inadequate supplies. We had an estimated a minimum of 4 months to get everything caught up, and I'm proud to say we got everything completed in 2. I have an advantage that the other candidates don't have. I'm currently the only candidate who has any experience working in the coroner's office. My biggest pitch to you is I'm not going to sit up here and tell you what I'm going to do. Instead, I'm going to tell you what I'm currently doing in hopes that you'll allow me to continue the work that I've done for years to come. I understand the requirements, demands, dedication, trust, and compassion needed to have a trustworthy and reliable coroner. I don't think a lot of people understand how much time is required for that in the county of the size of Cape Girardeau. The biggest thing I can push on is my transparency. When a person passes away, there's a combination of people that are immediately involved. I tell the families and the responding law enforcement agencies that if I know something, they will know something. And I do everything that I'm saying that I'm going to do. From investigations, toxicology, autopsies, and acquiring medical records, I keep everyone who's involved informed every step of the way up until the death certificate is signed and released. I have the open support of many people involved with not only the death investigation side, but the death care side, also the families I have served. I would ask any unconvinced voter of this: if I haven't convinced you that I'm the best and most qualified person to be your next corner, ask those who have worked with me. And that would be people like your law enforcement officers, firefighters, paramedics, funeral homes, and sadly, the families that I have served. I'm so confident with the work that I've done, I do believe in letting my work and reputation speak for itself. This is a job and a title that no one in the public wants to have to deal with. One of my biggest sayings is that we all have a clock getting closer to zero, and when the good Lord decides it's our time, we don't all get the luxury of passing it home on hospice surrounded by our families. It's never a good thing when I get a call to respond to, but I can guarantee you this, that when I show up, the investigation will be handled with a level of professionalism, dignity, and compassion that our county not only deserves, but expects. Thank you, and God bless.
Kyla Beester, running for Public Administrator.
My name is Kyla Beester, candidate for Cape Girardeau County Public Administrator. This is not something I thought I would ever do. The opportunity presented itself. A few people reached out and encouraged me to run. So after prayerful consideration, here I am. I grew up in Cape Girardeau County, which is where my husband Josh and I are raising our 3 children. Our oldest, Caden, works for Mercy Southeast as a patient care tech and is getting ready to marry the love of her life, Frankie Monroe, in 3 short weeks. Paisley is 9 and will start 4th grade in the fall. Autumn is 3 and will also start school in the fall. She'll be in preschool. We are members of St. Paul Lutheran Church in Jackson, Missouri, and our children attend St. Paul Lutheran School. I am a graduate of Jackson Senior High School, and I have a bachelor's degree in Human Environmental Studies from Southeast Missouri State University. After graduation, I had the pleasure of working for Dr. David Crow at the Taylor Institute for 3 years. I really enjoyed working with older autistic individuals, helping them master life skills and working towards being more independent, and I am thankful for all of the knowledge and patience I gained. I went on to work for Southeast Missouri State University as director and project coordinator for 2 grant-funded programs. One program provided individuals financial support to obtain their Child Development Associate credential, and the other allowed me to coordinate workshops for area teachers to earn their continuing education units. I hired presenters, facilitated workshops, hosted conferences, applied for, oversaw, and carried out the duties of both grants. After my time at Southeast Missouri State University, I took a position with the Missouri Children's Division as a Children's Service Worker. I ended my tenures as a Social Services Specialist 3. I served the vulnerable population of children in foster care, parents who lost custody of their children, and relatives who were placement of the children. While at the Children's Division, I worked as a family-centered service case manager with children who remained in the home. I also worked as an alternative care case manager for children who were in foster care, helping parents regain custody of their children. I was then a guardianship subsidy preparer, making sure the subsidy was prepared on time. Then as a licensing worker for our circuit, I completed relative and court-ordered home studies, relative renewals, licensed and maintained relative homes in Cape Girardeau, Bollinger, and Perry counties. The work that I did at the Children's Division, serving the Missouri foster children and their families, has given me the knowledge and skills that I feel are necessary to be a good public administrator. I'd like the opportunity to continue to serve the vulnerable population of our county, and I wouldn't be where I am today without God or the support of my family and friends. I'd appreciate your vote on August 6th. Thank you.
Laura Cassat, Public Administrator.
Good evening. I would like to thank the Guardians of Liberty for letting me have this time to share with you all. And also all of you for coming tonight to listen. I was born and raised in Cape Girardeau County. I attended Oak Ridge R6 K through 12, was graduated with an A+ scholarship. While being an Oak Ridge Blue Jay, I was a member of the National Honor Society, FBLA, FTA, and FCCLA. I was also a member of the marching band, concert band, and choir under the director of Judy Sharp. While I was there all 4 years, I attended state for choir and band, receiving honors in both. After graduation, I attended Mineral Area College in Park Hills, Missouri, while doing my internship at Division of Family Services under the supervision of Loretta Welker, graduating with an Associate of Applied Science in Business Management. In April of 2009, I married James Cassatt, soon after bought a property in northern Cape County, where we are raising our son, Curtis, who was born in November of 12, along with our dog Sugar and our cat Chocolate. Curtis enjoys playing sports, fishing, and hunting with his dad. I volunteer keeping stats, work in the concession stand, door admissions, and cheering on his teams. I was a member of New Salem United Methodist Church in Daisy, Missouri, and I support Alzheimer's, Cancer Society, Special Olympics, and the mental health awareness. My hobbies include reading, helping others, and being with my family, especially my grandma, Margie Roberts. I also have a brother, Nicholas, and Cassidy in Perryville, nieces Callie, Caden, Veda, Adeline, Colton, Elijah, and Isaac. You have used my degree in several companies over the last 16 years, one being Buckeye Incorporated, where I held several positions being a replenisher, pricing manager assistant, and an assisted buyer. I also worked at DI Supply as a project coordinator for 3 years, reading blueprints, building hotels all over the United States. During the pandemic, we were shut down, and I was one of the 4,000 that lost the job. I stayed at home with my son for 3 months until I was called to Caston Masonry as their customer and distribution representative, moving freight all over the United States. I have always loved taking care of people. I have always made sure that everyone, family and community, is taken care of before myself. And I make sure that they have everything that they need to achieve their life goals. When Lisa Reitzel called me to come to work with her at the Cape County Public Administrator's Office as her chief deputy, I felt it was a door that the good Lord had opened for me to serve not only my community of Cape County, but also these people who are now my people that I take care of. I work closely with the attorney, Chris Weiss, and I make the legal decisions that need to be made. As the public administrator, I am court-appointed personal representative for those who have the deceased and guardian conservator of the ones that are declared incapacitated and disabled. I make all of the medical and financial decisions, make sure that the safety codes are enforced to protect the individuals, pay medical bills, room and board, and make sure that they have everything that they need to succeed in life. I am on call 24/7.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you very much. Andrew Arshwarsky, Public Administrator.
Okay, I'm Andrew Strowski, running for Public Administrator. I'm going to do things a little bit different. If I'm going to read my platform to you, and if you miss something, go to table 6. My email is there. I'll shoot you the platform. All right, 4 points. First, I want to have high-quality public transportation. I want to do work to eliminate the property tax. And then I want to have a county-wide special school district for those with special needs. And then I'll be tough on violent crime. And the way we'll do our high-quality public transportation is I picture like buses or shuttles come down like Shawnee over there by the park, come down, going north on Kings Highway, all the way up to Millersville, up on Route 72, and then having shuttles going down Williams, Independence, Broadway, and Lexington. And then also I envision a public train from like the airport to Oak Ridge. And then as time goes on, these all be interacted together. And then the way we would eliminate the property tax is that the collector gets taxes for different political entities. And what we would do is we would do fund this by doing a 100-year analysis of the financial markets. And then we would get the funds to put in the financial too. So something goes down, like example I'm gonna use, like stock goes down, precious metals go up. And the way we would fund this is we could either issue bonds with the interest from that fund, paying off the bonds, and or we can issue certificates from private investors, like an organization worldwide called Office Family. I think they have about $300 billion to invest. And the funds would be 5 to 8 times operating costs, so the interest would pay for operating costs. And because we should be able to get 10-15% on the money if we're putting money in the funds properly. So that's my platform. There's a lot has to be done, but now looks like I got about a minute, so I could do like others do and just tell you how wonderful I am, you know? I'm not from here. I was born in Chicago. The wife's in Perryville. Thank you. Yeah, she's put up with me. About 25 years. And let me see. I was a student at, I had the highest education to be a student at, California School of Law. And thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Matt Henson, Treasurer.
Thank you. I applaud Jan for mentioning that this is like a job application. I've always thought politics, people running for office were applying for a job. You're the boss, I'm applying. We talk about what our experiences are, and I could stand up here and talk to you about my 36 years in banking. And when I talked with Roger about the job and all the job the Treasurer's Office entails, my audit background, being a licensed investment specialist, having been certified as a government lending specialist, all kind of flows into that. And I have a brochure back here, and I can talk to you at length about that. And as my prospective employer, I would welcome your scrutiny of my background and experience, and look forward to visiting with you at length. One of the things you find when you run for office is you have a lot of good friends, families, and supporters that try to give you advice. Don't put your signs out too early. Put the signs out early. Don't use the newspaper. Newspaper's the way to go. You get a lot of feedback. Do you not? A lot of friends and family pitching in. Well, I have a niece that's in marketing. She lives in Nashville, so she's helping Uncle Matt. And one of the things she says, I saw that flyer you made. It looks like a resume. I said, well, I'm running for office. I'm applying for a job. And we're in a time when the Missouri legislature is even talking about minimum requirements for certain elected officials. And I talked to Drew Blotner, and I said, well, if they're going to legislate minimum requirements for one, might they legislate minimum requirements for all? So work experience, what we're capable of doing is important. But my niece Johanna says, tell them about you. So, okay, I'll tell them about me. I worked for the highway department when I was going to college and earned the nickname How Come? I ask a lot of questions. And I've told that story to a friend of mine. He says, well, don't people that have elected officials dealing with their money like someone that asks a lot of questions? I said, well, I think so. So with me in the Treasurer's office, you'll have How Come on your side. And with all my work experience, one of the jobs I took was on Valentine's Day of 2020, my granddaughter was born. weeks before the pandemic broke. I told my daughter, before you put her in daycare someplace, I'll keep her. Well, I didn't hear anything for a few weeks. I overheard my wife and daughter Laura talking in the kitchen. I'll drop Riley off at 7 Monday. I leaned back and I said, you're going to do what? You said you'd watch her. So I will add to my resume Pawpaw's Daycare between February of 2020 and February of 21, a job I'm very proud of. In February of 21, she was talking about taking Riley to a daycare, and I said, whoa, we're getting along pretty good, aren't we? She said, yes, but if I leave her here any longer, she'll get weird. I don't think so. My wife Patty and I will be celebrating our 41st wedding anniversary this July. In the second week of July, all the women in my life get flowers because Laura's birthday is the 8th, my anniversary is the 9th, and Rachel's birthday is the 12th. I'm qualified, I'm ready, and I appreciate your vote on August 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Ronnie Maxwell, Treasurer.
Good evening. Before he came up here, Matt leaned over and he said, hey, if you have a minute left, say something nice about me. And I actually think I can do one better. Our scripture this morning that we read in our house was Matthew 5:43, to love your enemy. Okay? So I'm going to start my speech. Now you're not my enemy. But I'm going to start my speech by thanking him for being here. He's done a great job as the Republican chair, and I honestly hope that he keeps that position because I want to be your next treasurer. I want to thank everybody else for coming up here. To even be mentioned on this stage with all these amazing leaders is very, very humbling. It's something that I have been dreaming about for a long time. Miss Diane Jordan, when I walked in, she said, I've seen your signs, but it's nice to put a face to a name. Well, this is finally me getting up here to be able to tell you a little bit about me. I am a very proud resident of Cape Girardeau County. I have been my entire life. My roots run very deep here. I actually counted it up today. It's 5 greats that go back. Joseph Lewis was one of the original families that settled here, and that would be my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. Then they started farming down in Allenville and ran a farm down there. I met my high school sweetheart after going to Nell Holcomb. I'm a proud K-8 member of Nell Holcomb. Go Hawks. And met Jessica when I went to Jackson. We are living on her family farm. Her grandfather is Larry Buck. He was the county commissioner for many, many years and did a great job. When Jess and I started dating, he said, if you ever get into politics, the county's where you want to be. Well, that seed was planted a little over 20 years ago when her and I started dating. And going from student government in Jackson and listening to his words then, it was that seed that kind of got me going. So I began my banking career 20 years ago, and being in Jackson, that's the county seed, I got to know Roger very well, seeing how our county invests their money. I knew then that this is where I wanted to be. And after lots of prayer and consideration, the timing is just right for me to take this office. I want to take the baton from Roger and the great job that he's done and carry that on for the next 20 years. I think Cape County's in great shape. I'm not inheriting anything bad, and I'm looking forward to what we can do and build in the future. A little bit more about me. My background in banking has let me serve in the community in so many different facets, from community involvement through our church, historical societies, Breaking Bonds, which is a men's addiction recovery program, and actually even led me to open my own business. Barrel 131 in Jackson, something that me and my friend Joe Hobbs built 7 years ago. We built it with our own 2 hands, literally, built the bar, and we've ran it all the way through COVID, and it's a thriving business. I've got a little bit of a real estate background, and that's continuing to go well too. But the most important thing is where I want to be going forward, and that's your treasurer. So I look forward to your vote on August 6th in the primary, and I thank you for letting me come up here tonight.
Thank you very much. Ruth Ann Dickerson, Cape County Sheriff.
Hi. Well, I'm grateful and I feel very fortunate that I am not opposed during this election cycle. So I really appreciate the Guardians still inviting me to have a few minutes to speak, and you all giving me your attention to let you know that it's an honor to be the sheriff of Cape Girardeau County. I was born and raised here. My husband was born and raised here. We've raised our family here. We've raising grandchildren here. I worked for the sheriff's office for over 40 years. I worked for 5 different sheriffs, so I had a lot of great mentors over my past. And I don't have to tell you, as citizens of Cape Girardeau County is growing, it's changing, and we see that a lot in law enforcement. Every day is a new day. Sometimes that's a good thing because no 2 days are the same. Sometimes it's not a good thing because no 2 days are the same. But as we take on those challenges, I've been fortunate that we've been able to add to the patrol division. I have a drug task force officer. I have 2 crime warrant task force officers, and that's reflected greatly in the population of the jail. The jail holds 220 inmates is what it was built for, and our average daily population has been being 285. So they are doing their jobs. We are building onto the jail, which it will increase our capacity to about 500. You know, personally, I'm saddened to see that, but professionally, for the protection of the public and all of the citizens of Cape Girardeau County, it is a much needed expansion. So we have a lot of growth going on. I can't end my thanks to everybody here without telling you that I am really grateful for my staff. I have some really great staff, and so that if you see my officers out and about, whether they're patrol officers, whether you run onto one of my jail officers out somewhere, any show of appreciation is greatly appreciated. It really makes their day. So, like I said, I'm just grateful to be here. It's an honor to be your sheriff, and I really appreciate all the support that I get from all of the citizens of Cape Girardeau County. Thank you.
Thank you. Charlie Herbst, the Associate Commissioner, District 2.
Good evening. My name is Charlie Herbst, and I am the candidate for Associate Commissioner, District Number 2. I graduated from Cape Central High School back in '81, a few years ago. Graduated from Southeast Missouri State University with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. Graduated from SEMO Law Enforcement Academy, where I was also an instructor for several years. When I first ran for elected office, I told the citizens then I would be proud to serve the citizens as a full-time District 2 Associate Commissioner for the County of Cape Girardeau. As a full-time commissioner, I'll be available every day to work alongside Clint Tracy and Paul Kepper and all the elected county officials on projects, issues, and daily operations of the county. This statement held true. When I was first elected, I indeed resigned my position as a vice president of a local, successful information technology company to devote full-time attention to the elected office as it deserves. Accomplishments while serving on the commission have included the implementation of a county-wide public safety communication system for law enforcement and fire EMS. We established a new, modern, and efficient courthouse for the state of Missouri courts, office space consolidation for the 32nd Judicial Court, Juvenile Department, sufficient space for the State of Missouri Public Defender Office, development and construction of a county and regional emergency operations center, which will be soon opening. I participated in a restructuring of a regional economic development organization for the betterment of the county and the region. I've represented the county as a board member of the Missouri Association of Counties and the County Commissioner Association of Missouri, where I also served as a president. I also represent the Missouri Association of Counties as a member of the National Association of Counties Telecommunication and Technology Committee. As a lifelong resident of Cape Girardeau, I've seen the county grow to become an important and recognized hub for the region that includes education, health, and commerce. My experiences serving on the Cape Girardeau City Council, Cape Girardeau County Commission, and the Cape Girardeau Police Department, and involvement in the community provides a firm foundation for understanding governmental processes. I have pride in my skills of problem solving and conflict resolution that promote teamwork and encourage progress. The Commission manages all aspects of county government not assigned by law to other elected officials. The Commission is responsible for construction, maintenance, and improvement of all buildings, roads, bridges, and equipment. The Commission appoints citizens to local boards. The Commission is also responsible for approving a balanced budget for the operation of the county and the state of Missouri courts. Although the county administers most of the county business, it has limited legislative authority. The commission serves as a liaison between other local units of government, regional organizations, state and federal agencies. So what kind of lies ahead for the county? We need to look at a county-wide fire department consolidation and an ambulance district at some point. We've been currently served by a private ambulance for many years, so that is something that I look forward to address in the future. The county also needs to look at a comprehensive growth plan that addresses adequate infrastructure, roads, stormwater, sewer, and energy as we grow in the county. I appreciate your vote on August 6th. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephen Downey, Associate Commissioner, District 1.
Well, I'm going to help you guys over here running for coroner. If you have to do an investigation on me and we meet professionally, you can rule out suicide. Sheriff, if they come back with suicide, launch another investigation. And the second thing I'll tell you is you don't need to mourn about me because I know where I'm going when I leave this joint. Pastor, amen? All right. Hey, good evening. Thanks for coming out. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for your time. My name is Stephen Downey, and I am a candidate for Associate Commissioner for District 1. Real briefly, I grew up on the family farm in North Cape County near Oak Ridge. I used to sing bass in the Southern Gospel Quartet, and our MC always introduced me as being one of the Oak Ridge boys, Laura. So, you all out there old enough, you know who that group is, yeah. Other than my time at Mizzou, where I received my degree and taught while doing postgraduate work, I've lived in Cape County. I've been a sales manager and a livestock specialist with MFA for over 20 years. I operate the family farm, and we grow soybeans, wheat, cover crops, and cows on about 600 acres. I've been married to my wife, Shelley, for almost 37 years. That anniversary's coming up July 30th. Would somebody please tell her that I remember the date? She's a veterinarian, and we're a partner in Deer Ridge Animal Hospital in Jackson. In addition to work activities, I'm very involved at Cape County Cowboy Church, where I've served on a leadership team a couple of times. I also serve on the worship team. I lead and train our sheepdog safety security team. I lead young adult Bible study and work with our youth ministry. I'm an avid runner. I enjoy outdoor sports. And in addition to running races, I compete in shooting sports like run and gun and the Vortex Team Sniper Challenge. Now, there's a couple of things that I think you really need to know about me as a candidate. Number one, I recognize that your individual rights are granted to you by God. They're not granted by government. And number two, I recognize that it's government's responsibility to secure those rights. I'm running for county commissioner for a couple of reasons, but number one is because I feel called to serve. Galatians 5:13. For you, brethren, you've been called to liberty. This is Apostle Paul speaking. Only do not use your liberty as an opportunity to serve the flesh. Pastor, we're not supposed to look out for ourselves. We're supposed to use our love right here to serve one another. John 15:12 and 13, this is my favorite Bible verse, and this is Jesus speaking. My command is this: love each other as I've loved you. Greater love hath no one than this, to lay down his life for his friends. That may mean actually physically laying down your life, Sheriff, in the form of law enforcement, or some of our people have done in the military, but it may mean putting aside your own wants and things that you think you need to serve others and meeting their needs. You see, love is made perfect when we use our time, talents, and gifts to serve others. And as your next county commissioner, that's what I'll do. My name's Stephen Downey. You can find me at Cowboy Church on Sunday mornings or on Facebook. My email is stephendowney@gmail.com if you want to get in touch with me. I've got literature in the back. I'd love to meet with you all individually. Most of all, I'd appreciate your vote on August the 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Dwayne Kirchhoff, Associate Commissioner, District 1.
I'm going to cheat a little bit. Hi, my name is Dwayne Kirkhoff. I am running for commissioner. I ran for this position 4 years ago against Paul Kepper when he had announced that he was going to retire, and he changed his mind. Well, we know how that worked out because Paul's still the commissioner. But I'm running again, and I'm very serious about this position. Kathy and I, we've been married for soon to be 43 years in July 18th. I remembered that date too. She's right over there. We have 3 sons. All of them are married with 5 grandkids. And number 6 is soon to be here in June, sitting over there with my daughter-in-law. We both graduated from University High. I went on to Cape Votech for 2 years during my high school career for HVAC and refrigeration. I've worked for Hacker Plumbing and Heating for the last 23 years. We're members of Hanover Lutheran Church. I started my public service in 1981. I was a senior in high school as a volunteer firefighter for East County Fire Protection District. I retired with 38 and a half years of service. My last 11 years were as chief. I served as a former president of the Cape Girardeau County Firefighters Association. In 1987, I started in politics as a school board member for Nell Holcomb School. I think I might have given Ronnie his diploma. I served there for 18 years, 10 of them as the board president. I served an additional 6 years on the foundation of Nell Holcomb School. I'm a former president of the Egypt Mills Antique Tractor Club and currently serve as a board member. All of my service has not been about Dwayne Kirkhoff and making a name for Dwayne Kirkhoff. It's always been about the community I live in. As your commissioner, I'll work with the same passion and dedication, working with others to make things happen. I'm Dwayne Kirkhoff, and I'm running for Cape Girardeau County Commissioner, District 1. Thank you, and I appreciate your vote.
Thank you, Dwayne. Dave Reiminger, Associate Commissioner, District 1.
Good evening. It's a lot calmer in here than that wind outside, isn't it? It's a bad hair day. I'm glad to be in here. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, good guardians. I want to introduce myself, Dave Reiminger. I'm married to Martha Faye Reiminger. She was a Grantham previous to that from Oak Ridge. We've been married 50 years. We have 3 sons, Todd, Travis, Chad. And for 31 years, I was been the alderman for City of Jackson in Ward 2. And right now I'm serving as the president of the board, chairman of the Power and Light Committee, and mayor pro tem. I was also for 31 years the president and owner of Overhead Door Company of Southeast Missouri in Jackson. My sons now are running that business, and since I have retired 10 years ago. I'm tired of retirement. I don't like it. Winter drives me nuts. I've got some things to do, but I need more than that, and I need to be more productive with my life. So I'm ready for another chapter. For 9 years, I've been on the First State Community Bank Board in Jackson. For 40 years, I've been a member of the Jackson Chamber of Commerce. 9 of those years, I was on the board of directors. 28 years, I was been on the Jackson Tribal Council. That is a support group for the athletics. I cook in the end zone. They call me AKA Chief Cooks a Lot. I've got a large smoker, and we make a lot of money for the athletics, all the different ones, ladies and men's. 53-year member of the Knights of Columbus, Chapter 6405 in Jackson, and 44 years as an Elks member and in Jackson. I was the 2015 recipient of the R.A. Fullenwider Award, Meritorious Service Award in Jackson. And it's about business, as Dwayne said. You know, it's about serving the community. It's about commitment. And once you're used to that way of life, it comes real natural. But what's more important about it is, I think that I've got a business sense in the private sector, and I've also spent enough time in the public sector that makes a unique blend of understanding one side or the other side. And with that, my constituents and listening to hearing people and their problems and solving them, it's a lot easier to do. And I really think that sometimes the most important thing, as I said, I was an owner of Overhead Door Company in Southeast Missouri. My father started in '57. The most important thing is listen to people's problems, solving their problems and taking care of them, and having the employees, in this case, our own staff, as Ruth Ann was talking about, as how good they are and how they take care of things and get things accomplished in the county. And they are probably some of your most important people that you've got working in this place, in the entire county, is your staff. I think a lot of them. In any good company, that's the way it's going to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Stephen Jordan, vying for State Representative, District 151.
Good evening, folks. I want to thank the Guardians of Liberty for hosting this event so we can all get up here and give our little spiel. I'm not a public speaker, I'm a doer. My name's Steve Jordan. I'm running for the House seat 151. My wife and I, Danielle, will be married 46 years on July 29th. And we have 4 daughters, 5 grandchildren. I've been a Stoddard County resident for the last 62 years. I'm 67 years old now, so my roots run pretty deep in Stoddard County. My dad was born in Paint, Missouri, the son of a sharecropper. December 5th, 1941, he turned 17. December 7th, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. December the 9th, he was on a train headed to Great Lakes Naval Academy. From there to Corpus Christi for seamen's training, and from there to 4 years in the South Pacific Theater. And I was raised up pretty solid. There was not much gray in my area. It was black and white, pretty strict, and I got a few things that I deserved along the way. I made my living here in the 151st District. I spent 4 years at Cape Tractor Trailer, became a heavy-duty parts specialist, went to outside sales. I left there, went to work for Advance Truck Parts, and Advance selling new Western Star trucks and American trailers. In 1986, we were the #1 dealer in the country, and I left there in December of '87. Went to work for Heavy Duty Trucks in Bloomfield, Missouri as a salesman. 2 years later, Jim got sick, Jim Duty, who owned the place, and he put me running the operation, and then we bought him out in August of 1994. Run a successful trucking company until June 30th of 2022, sold out. That company is still going and very successful in Dexter, Missouri. While I was at the trucking company, I served the taxpayers of Stoddard County for 13 years as Pike Township Commissioner or President. We took care of all the roads and bridges. Stoddard County is a Class 3 county, so the commissioners didn't have to worry about that part of the program. I ran for commissioner first time in 2012 and lost by 1 vote. So I know every vote counts, and I think it's our privilege and also our duty to get out and vote. in my opinion. I think you need to get out and do that. I understand the struggles of the county because I was a co-owner of a trucking company, and we fought the battle every day. I'm a member of Cape County Cowboy Church. I helped start the Barrel Horse Ministry there, which is now heading into its 11th year. My oldest daughter is now helping me with that to take a little load off of me. We as a family have been involved in the horse industry since I was a kid. We've rodeoed, roped, run barrels, trained horses, raised horses, run a few horses in Oklahoma at the racetrack. So I think I'm well prepared to be your 151st state representative, and I would appreciate your vote, and thank you all for coming out.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Gary Sensaboy, running for State Representative, District 148.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank God for allowing all of us to be here tonight. And thanks to the Guardians for allowing me to come and speak. Starting off, my wife asked me, she said, "Have you got your speech prepared?" I said, "Of course." I don't write speeches. I get up here, I speak what I feel, and I talk how I talk. My name is Gary Sensaboy. I'm running for House Representative in District 148. Been a lifelong Scott County resident. I've done a lot of volunteer work with local fire departments and everything else, and I was a mayor for 10 years in the city of Orion, well, up until just this last April. And then, you know, we got a lot of problems in Jeff City, a lot of problems. Too many people are getting bought. Money's running deep. All these lobbyists, they are destroying our beautiful state. We need people like me and a good governor like Bill Eigel. Good state rep like Jacob Turner. I mean, yes. And I'm sorry, it was the Senate, but it's all right. But listen, people, you know, we've all got to do one thing, and it's very simple. We need to do a research on everyone. We need to make sure that they got a godly base, their heart's in the right place, and we need to go and vote. Voting is a very prominent thing. I mean, we've got to have people out voting. I've got an opponent that had been a Democrat for the last 50 years. He drove up to Jeff City 2 days before I did and signed up as a Republican. Ladies and gentlemen, we got way too many rhinos right now. Way too many. Those people are bought. They'll do whatever it takes to get rich in their own way and not worry about you. I personally am doing this job, or fighting to do this job, because I care about the people. I'm an America First, God-loving, Second Amendment, pro-life, and all I can say is just please get out and vote. Use your common sense. And I'd also like to say thank you to Anna Vokeler. She actually got me started in this, and she was a very great lady, and she's going to be dearly missed. I'd like to thank everyone. Y'all have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Gary. Greg Talapik is seeking State Representative 147.
Hey there. The guy in the wild jacket is the Libertarian Party candidate. Can you imagine that? Let me share with you the mission statement for the Guardians of Liberty. It goes like this. The Guardians of Liberty of Southeast Missouri will engage, educate, and empower citizens to preserve the blessings of liberty as secured by the Missouri and United States Constitutions and other founding documents. Well, I have a mission statement too, and that is to get libertarians elected. I was the executive director for the Missouri Libertarian Party for 20 years. And very late in that career, I had an epiphany. And that is, we have a two-party system. And so in order for libertarians to get elected, we have to change the system. And I'm going to take an uncomfortably long pause to ask you how you would fill the 163 seats in the State House of Representatives if it were up to you to design the system. Because Missouri gets to design our own system. How would you do it? What was that? Throw darts at a phone book. I think we can do better. And actually, I think I have a very good idea. But if you come up with, I'm happy to have any suggestions. My table's over there. I'll have my clipboard over there. If you want to leave your telephone number, I will give you a call. I am interested in what you have to say too. Basically, how we do it now is we've got 163 seats and separate primaries for each one of those in August. And the winner of each August primary then goes to the general election in November. And the winner with a plurality, doesn't take a majority of the vote, just a plurality, will put that person in a seat. And the result is a two-party system. That's what happens when you have single seat districts. And I have an idea for your consideration. All around the world, legislative bodies are populated using some variety of what is called proportional representation. Basically, if a party gets 10% of the vote, they get 10% of the seats. I've spoken to many people about this idea, and the two best objections I get to it are that we lose our local representative. And I disagree. I think with our state, I think we should keep the state senate the way it is. So we've still got a local representative. We've still got somebody that is in our, in our area that we can go and complain to if we want to. The other complaint that I get is it's doing it like other countries do it. And I say to that, we can do it better. The two-party system is very undemocratic. Can you imagine anything worse than just two parties? I mean, one, maybe? The State House of Representatives should represent all of the people in the state, not just Republicans and Democrats. If we were to elect the body as a whole, everyone's vote would count. It would get added to a total of votes that would send representatives to the State House. People who agree with your political opinions. Now that's empowering. That will make Democrats in Cape Girardeau and Republicans in St. Louis feel like their vote counts. That's empowering. Quickly, I will give you information. Donald Trump is going to speak at our national convention in a couple of days. The National Libertarian Party was taken over by a group recently. We've dropped our anti-abortion, we've dropped our abortion plank.
Thank you, Greg. Lucas Green, State Representative, District 146.
I don't know about some of you all, but I'm disappointed and sometimes angry at some of our current elected officials. They're not showing up as leaders, many are followers, and they're really only concerned with themselves and their own egos. This year in Jefferson City, a top priority for the Republican Party was to improve the process of adding constitutional amendments to the Missouri Constitution. Despite having a supermajority and the power to achieve this, they failed. They failed because of egos, special interests, and most importantly, in my opinion, a lack of real leadership. Not just from the formal leaders. With this kind of priority and supermajority, no one stepped up and said, hey guys, this is bigger than us and our campaigns. This is a sign of failure on many fronts. If it gotten done, it would have given the people of Missouri a better chance to defeat the proposed abortion amendment that's going to be on the ballot later this year. These leaders failed the unborn, and it's beyond disappointment. The problem is we have individuals up there with uphill dreams and ambitions, but downhill habits and downhill work ethics. When I was in Iraq and currently as a business owner, you don't survive unless you have uphill habits and an uphill work ethic. It's work, and it's being smart about your work. Sometimes you charge straight up the hill. Sometimes you take a winding path because the hill's too steep. But it always requires you and a team around you that has the habits and the work ethic to make it to the top and get the job done. Being a leader, which everybody on this stage is asking to be, requires them to bear an uphill burden to do it well. But the burden cannot be carried if you're unwilling to stand up. It cannot be done if you're afraid of being punched in the nose. We already have plenty of bureaucrats who talk in circles, not say anything, or just a flat-out disappointment. I will tell you very straight. I am pro-life, conservative, a business owner, a Christian who's a leader in his church, a husband to a breast cancer survivor, and a father of 4, and I've led troops in a war zone. I have lived a life where the burden of leadership is a reality, where some days are hard, and yes, I've been hit in the nose a few times, both literally and figuratively. I bring that experience and motivation, and the reason I'm standing here today is a story I've told you all before. After I got back from Iraq, a lot of good people walk up to me and said, "Thank you for your service." I've always struggled with what to say next, till an older veteran came to me and said, "You know, if you mean it, tell them they were worth it. You are all worth it. The unborn are worth it. Your kids and grandkids are worth it. The state is worth it, and this country is worth it. I want to be your representative and leader because it is worth it." I'm Lucas Green, and I'm a proven, experienced leader, ready to serve you, and I ask for your vote to take the experience and work ethic to represent you in Jefferson City. Thank you.
Thank you. Barry Hovis, State Representative, District 146.
Thank you all for coming out here tonight. I want to thank the Guardians for having this event. I was very honored to be asked to be able to attend here. I want to thank the church for hosting the facilities here. I know it's already been said once, but I truly do sincerely thank you for doing that. For those of you, I see many faces I know out here, but for those of you that do not know me, I am Barry Hovis. I represent District 146, which makes up a little bit of Cape Girardeau City, a lot of Cape Girardeau County, and all of Jackson. When I ran, well, let me tell you a little bit about myself for those that do not know me. So I grew up in a small town just west of here on the Wayne-Bullard County border. If you know where Cache River Park is, that's where our farms are at. I came over here in 1986 at the age of 21, and I started my career in law enforcement. After graduating from the SEMO Law Enforcement Academy, I worked for 30-plus years and retired as a lieutenant. I oversaw support services as a firearms instructor and leader within that. I worked in the schools for 6 years, had a great relationship with those people there. And that was one of the things I actually enjoyed the most because I got to work with the kids and work with them. And it was a great honor to be able to do that. When I retired, I was the jail administrator as well as the support service guy. I ran and was elected in 2019 to serve as your state rep. I've got 3 terms in, so I'm on my last term now. One of the things that I've tried to do when I got up there is, and I'd make decisions on make the votes because some of these are not easy. Whatever people say, it's not black and white when it comes to a lot of things up there. But when I make my decisions, I base it on, does this honor God? Is it something that I think that the citizens of my state want to have in their district down there? How does it relate to the Constitution? And how does it tie in with my personal values? And those are things that you have to make a decision on every time. Some of those things we do up there, they may be black and white. Those are easy votes. But a lot of times you get criticized when you've got things that get thrown together and it convolutes everything. A little bit more about my family. I have 3 children and 1 son-in-law. My daughter, Erica, now lives in Arkansas. She's a vice president of a bank over there. They just moved recently because my son-in-law, Ben, is going to be a pilot. He's just now getting into his commercial license status. My son, Adam, graduated from school here in Jackson 3 years ago. He just finished up his certificate in diesel tech. He's working for the city of Cape Girardeau down there in their public works garage now. And my daughter graduated last year and has got her first year of college in to be a teacher. She's chosen to do that, and I told her, I said, you may not make a lot of money for that, but she's got the skills to work with kids. And she currently does that now working for the Methodist Church over in Jackson. And I told her, I said, honey, I said, we go to Linwood. We're Southern Baptists. I said, why do you choose the Methodist church? She goes, Dad, she goes, I get to work with kids, and they offered me a job. So it worked out pretty good with that part of it there. A little more about my past. Like I said, I grew up working on a farm. We had a sawmill. We logged. We did a lot of things along those lines. I now run a cattle farm. I still help my dad on that. And I serve on 6 committees. I know we're running out of time here. I should have made a bet with someone that I can make them cut the mic off on me, and I might have won a soda out of that, but I chose not to do it. I serve as the chair of the Joint Committee on Public Employee Retirements. That is the joint committee with the Senate and the House. I was elected by my peers to do that. I also am the chairman of pensions. I was elected to do that. Consent and House Procedure, which is the rules. I vice chair that committee. Crime Prevention and Public Safety, which is one of the things I love to do because I am a pro-law enforcement person as well as pro-life, pro-business, and everything else that goes to make this community a better place. Serve on the Higher Education Committee, Special Committee on Policy Review. And since I did serve on a retirement board for many years, I've been assigned to the MoDOT and Highway Patrol Retirement Systems, which kind of ties into what I do. If elected, I will do the best to continue what I've been doing, knowing that I won't always agree with everybody up here, but if you call me and ask me, I'll give you my point of view. It is an honor and a privilege to serve you. I hope to be able to do it for 2 more years, and I ask for your vote respectfully on August the 6th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Barry. Bryant Wolfen, State Representative 145.
All right, thanks, Jan. Good evening, guys. My name is Bryant Wolfen. I'm running for state representative on the Republican ticket for District 145. That actually consists of Perry County and St. Genevieve County. So I got a little bit of an advantage here of not running in this area. So I'm going to skip some things and just try to speak some truth. So I will tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, lucky father of 3 beautiful children. I'm an extremely blessed husband. My wife here in the front row, she puts up with all of my political endeavors and other things. And we're also small business owners. So before I get into the meat and potatoes, I kind of want to thank the Guardians for Liberty for putting on such a great event. So if we give them a quick round of applause, thanks to all that are involved. We appreciate you. There's not too many opportunities where we get to have candidates across the entire spectrum show up. So why am I running? Honestly, we need more champions of liberty in Jefferson City. If you do your research, you're quickly going to find out that the government on all levels, if you already don't know, has continued to grow. Tax increases, increased regulation, out-of-control spending, and so much more. So our country today is obviously not what our founders imagined. Quite frankly, I think they would be quite embarrassed. We all know that the government is just way too big, and yet we still sit complacent and elect the same people back into office. So we as a society have really forgotten what the proper role of government should be. And I'm going to quickly remind you, it's pretty simple. The only thing that our government should be doing is protecting our natural rights, and that's it. I think that was said already this evening, and I can appreciate that. I agree. So if we don't elect public servants that understand this, then we can never expect our liberties to be restored the way that we want them. So as the famous quote, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. So folks, this legislative session has confirmed with me, and I would hope to you as well, that Jefferson City is obviously broken. All the power sits in the leadership, or in the laps of leadership and lobbyists. As a legislator, if you want your bill to be heard, well, you better fall in line with that majority leader. Or if you want that committee that's going to benefit your constituency, well, you better do as the speaker says. You may think that your representative may be working for you, but that's unfortunately not the case. Of course, it's no fault to them. It's the product of our system. Like I said, with that said, I don't doubt the sincerity of most of our reps. However, they're just pawns in the game. Once elected, the representative becomes more of a fundraiser rather than a legislator. Raising money is what gets you reelected and gives you higher status amongst your peers in Jeff City. It also helps you climb that ladder. So what's the easiest way to fundraise? Well, by voting how the lobbyists want you to, of course. And that's what gets you PAC donations. Go look at the Missouri Ethics Commission reports, and chances are you'll find that the most principled are those with the least amount of PAC money or PAC donations. This, to me, does not sound like political power that is vested and derived from the people. So, to close, thanks, Rock. Originally, I had my normal stump speech ready, just like the rest of these guys up here, but given the circumstances of not being in my district, and given how the session has actually went, I felt the need to speak a little bit of truth of what's really going on in Jefferson City. And to be honest, I have much more to say, but given the allotted time, I have to cut it short. So, we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity in August to get the power back to where it belongs. And so if we want to give this power back to where it belongs, which is the people, we need to be voting for liberty on August 6th. So I always like to close with this quote. George Washington once said, liberty, when it begins to take root, is the plant of rapid growth. So I think there's some candidates up here that could be that plant, and hopefully we can see liberty grow. So thank you guys for the opportunity again, and thanks for the Guardians of Liberty. Thank you.
Thank you, Bryant. Jacob Turner, State Senator, District 27.
Thank you all for coming out. My name is Jacob Turner. I'm running to be the next senator of District 27. I was born and raised here in Missouri, and during high school, we were hit with the Twin Towers were struck, and we went to war. And I knew in that moment that my life had changed. When I watched it up there on that screen and I seen what they had done to us, I knew that my path, college wasn't the option right now. I would come back to that later. And I talked to my mother and my father into signing the paperwork so I could graduate early and move on into the United States Marine Corps. Shipped off to San Diego, got my training, and then off to the Middle East I went. I served 8 years in the United States Marine Corps in Joint Task Force operations, hunting terrorists in the global war on terrorism operations. I came home after my 2 enlistments. Started a small business that I've ran successfully for 10 years. In my time away from my business, I have served as a fireman and a paramedic throughout our district. I've seen the problems that are arising on the front lines in our community. The rise in violent crimes, of repeat offenders. The police all across our district who are working so hard to put these criminals away. They catch them, they do the work, just for the system to kick them back out into the communities that they just cleaned up. My plan is to reduce violent crime. The first bill I will put forth will be to push for a max sentence of 80%, like at the federal level when you're charged with a federal crime, to hold those violent criminals and keep them off our streets. I'm proudly endorsed by Cape Girardeau Police Department's fraternity. I'm proudly endorsed by Cape Firefighters Association. It's the people that you trust to be there for you in your darkest hour. Those people are entrusting me to do the right thing and make sure, and I will do that. I'll come through for you. You know, there's been a recent push to sell out our water rights. I don't know if you all know this, but to push through to give a license to the Department of Natural Resources so that they can sell your water to California in the hopes to receive help with green energy. Happening right here in our district, folks. If I'm senator, I will stop this. I will make sure that this does not go through. Fortunately, this year, the only reason it hasn't occurred is because of Senator Eigel. He put the amendment forth. They told you they were going to try to save our water. That's what the bill existed for. But when Senator Eigel stood up and he said, how about we just block all exports? Oh, no, we'll wait till next year. Well, don't worry, folks. I'll be there next year to make sure I kill that bill as well. I'm a proud gun owner. I love the Second Amendment. I will always fight to protect your Second Amendment. I will always fight to protect life. I believe that life begins at conception. It has been an honor for me to be a candidate just in this district and to serve our community as a first responder. And on August 6th, I would love the opportunity to take and continue my service on into the Senate. I know that I'm ending a little short, but if you'd like to find any more information on me, jacobturner4missouri.com is where you can find it, and I will be back there at my table when it comes time. Thank you all. God bless.
Thank you, Jacob. Grant Heithold, seeking U.S. Representative, District 8.
Hello, my name's Grant Heithold. I want to thank Jan and the team for putting this together. I want to thank all of you that are here that care to come out and listen to our point of view. My name's Grant Heithold. I'm running for 8th Congressional District to represent you. Tell you a little bit about myself. I was raised on a farm. I'm in a farm in Salem, Missouri right now. I have went to school after I graduated high school to University of Missouri-Rolla and got an engineering degree. From there, I taught school for a little while, for math and chemistry, and then got into my field of study more. I went ahead and worked at Arkansas Nuclear One and other nuclear plants as an engineer. And from there, I saved some money. I wanted to get back on the farm. I felt the freedom in farming and bought some land back and came back to do the farming. But also I invested in a small business. That small business evolved to managing 7 states for a company called Heatmore Outside Wood Furnaces, and that's what I'm currently doing right now. I have been married for 35 years to a wonderful wife. I have 3 kids with their own families. They live about 30 miles from me, and I have 10 plus grandkids. So I was living a dream, but that dream started to collapse, or as I've seen a different view. And one of the things that I think I can say about this is that we as a country, one of the most pivotal moments in our country was in 2020 when we lost this election. I believe it was stolen. I believe it hit me real hard, and I started looking at different media because Fox News wasn't talking about it. In fact, they would kick people off if you talked about election fraud or election integrity, that type of stuff, and question the election. So I stopped watching Fox News and I started watching alternative media. And I have sheets on my table there if you want to discuss this afterwards. But that rocked my boat. I started looking at who represented me. And one of the things that broke the camel's back for me was when Jason voted for this last bill. Marjorie Taylor Greene said this spending bill back in March was the worst bill that she's ever voted on. And he voted yes with most of the Democrats and against most of the Republicans on that bill. Now, if you look at that bill, you want to look at the record. It's not only that bill, but other things once I started investigating this stuff. But if you look at the bill, it's against everything that he talks about when he's behind this podium. This bill is for abortion. This swamp bill is for abortion. It's for transgender surgeries. We're paying for that. We are also, he promised to close the border. This is continuing the border at an accelerated pace. This spending that we're having is $1 trillion that's being added to our debt that we can't pay back in every 100 days. So we're close to $35 trillion right now. So his fiscal policy is being ruined in this bill as well. I am Grant Heithold. I've seen a lot. I don't understand what these guys are voting for, and my representation is not being done correctly with the representation we have here with Jason Smith. So please consider me, look at his record, and talk to me afterwards. I've got a Facebook page. You can take a look at it and see what's going on. I appreciate your vote and appreciate your vote in August 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, Grant. Randy McCallion, U.S. Representative, District 8.
Hello, friends. I hear it's stormy outside. I hope we all drive home safely. Thank you for having me. My name is Randy McCallion, and let's connect for a moment on some of the things that I've been hearing from you in this district. So raise up your hand if you love a public school, if you went to a public school, if you love someone who works at a public school, and if you appreciate your public schools. Me too. I value our rural public schools deeply. My children go to a tiny little school of 180 kids, K through 8, over in Phelps County. All right, so I agree with you. I value rural public schools. Raise up your hand if you believe our rural communities deserve health care and the jobs that local health care creates. Yeah, me too. I agree with you. That's one of my values. Who likes the government telling you what to do with your family and your body? I agree with you. I don't either. That's one of my values too. So my name is Randy McCallion. I'm a wife, I'm a mother. I've worked with families and children in healthcare and education for over 20 years. I have done things like bring rural healthcare to rural communities and expand it with programs like community health workers, for example. I'm a Democrat running against Jason Smith. That's right. We all agree on a lot more issues than we disagree on, but it is that corrupt corporate money system that's working to keep me and you from working together to end that. And that is one of the reasons I got involved in politics, and I left the field of maternity care, where I was helping women give birth to their babies, and I was helping families learn how to feed their babies. And I started leaving that work so that I could fight for those families and that I could fight to get rid of that corporate greed and corruption. So, like I said, worked with families for a long time. I worked with kids with autism. I worked with early Head Start and parents as teachers in Montessori schools. And then I started directing multi-state maternal and child health programs in very rural areas of Florida, Michigan, Ohio, and states like that. And we expanded rural maternity care services under that program. So, Jason Smith. I'm gonna spend less time talking about me because I gotta be honest, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm going up against Goliath with $4 million, who's a corporate sellout and takes all the money, like from Tyson, right before they closed the chicken plant in his district. That's right. So, Jason Smith votes against earmarks. That's literally one of the most important jobs for a congressperson, is to bring your tax dollars back to your district. So when everyone I talk to out there feels angry that our taxes aren't coming back here, you point your finger at Jason Smith and Josh Hawley, and you let them know it's their job. They're leaving your tax dollars on the table for other places to take. Jason Smith voted against affordable insulin. That's a pro-pharma vote. You all know someone in this room with diabetes because our district actually suffers the most from diabetes in the state. Thanks, Jason. We've also lost a lot of our rural health care in the 11 years that Jason Smith has been our representative. He voted against being paid for family care, for taking care of people in your family. He voted against lowering the cost of food and fuel. And do we know what just came out? That we all just got screwed by big oil because they raised their prices and they price gouged us. Jason didn't work for us. He helped them. So I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm an amateur family farmer as we try to build a farm in these forests. And I also worked with families and children for 20 years, and I'd appreciate your vote in November. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Lori Rook, State Treasurer.
Thank you for that. I've traveled the state quite a bit, and I've been to a lot of these events, and I've got to say this is one of the most well-organized, concise events that I've been to, so I just want to say thank you for that. The communication has been superb, and it's been great from start to finish. So, again, my name is Lori Rook, and I'm running to be your next Missouri State Treasurer. I'm going to give you a little bit about me, I'm going to tell you why I'm running, and then I'm going to tell you my plan. I'm from Springfield, Missouri. I was born and raised over there. I grew up, graduated from a little town called Nixa, just south, kind of a bedroom community. I've been married to my husband for almost 21 years, Ryan. He's a small business owner and a Marine vet. We have 3 children. I'm also an attorney and a small business owner. I own a firm called Ozarks Elder Law. We have 9 offices in Southwest Missouri and 7 attorneys. We service the aging population, and we are proactive with what we do. I've been practicing 17 and a half years. My oldest son is 18. If you do the math there, you can figure out that I had my oldest child while I was in law school. I tell you that for 2 reasons. One, because it's one of my proudest accomplishments, because as you can imagine, it was very hard. I also tell you that because in being my proudest achievement, I was able to demonstrate to my classmates who encouraged me to take an alternate route when I found out I was pregnant and to choose my career over life. In addition to being a mom and an attorney, a business owner and a wife, I'm a fighter. For 17 and a half years, I have fought for the elderly, the aging, those with special needs, veterans, and farmers in Southwest Missouri. I have helped them plan ahead so they don't get into the pitfalls that the aging community sometimes encounters. I'm also a fighter when it comes to our children. I fought against the draconian lockdowns, the virtual learning, and the masking mandates. It got to the point where my children were like, "Mom, please don't. Don't ask to be at the school board meeting again. Don't email so-and-so again." I'm that mom. I fought against the draconian lockdowns in our nursing homes and our hospitals for our elderly. I worked with the Attorney General's offices so that we could make sure that those folks still had access to the legal documents that they need. We need more fighters in Jeff City. We don't have enough. Too many people are bought and paid for, and they're not working for you. I agree that this is like a job interview. You should be hiring someone that's going to go up there and work for you instead of the special interests and the lobbyist. In my practice, I've been proactive. We plan ahead for folks, okay? Missouri is being reactive right now. We are waiting until the fires erupt, and then we try to put them out. How did I get here? I sought the appointment in 2022. You may have heard that about me. I didn't get it. The governor's office passed on me because I was an outsider. I think we need more outsiders in Jeff City. I told the governor's office if I didn't like who had appointed, I was going to run anyway, so here I am. I've been in this for about 1.5 years, and I have seen a lot of problems in that treasurer's office, and the number one being transparency. You cannot figure out where your money's going. And I have an idea for a better system. It's called ShowMeMoMoney.com. It's going to be a one-stop shop where you can go and find out where your tax dollars are really going. I don't think that's too much to ask for. My name is Lori Rook. I'm running to be your next Missouri State Treasurer, and I would appreciate your vote on August 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Iliad Gross, running for Attorney General.
Hi, everybody. Hello. Hi. My name is Elad Gross. It's a little weird first name. I am in the Bible, the most exciting part. I was the son of 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 somebody. And I got one sentence. I died. So that's what I got to do. I am running for Attorney General of Missouri. I am also a guardian of liberty. Some of you, if you come over to the table over there, you'll see I have a little dog. Her name is Liberty Bell. And she's from a puppy mill. We rescued her, so I have to guard her quite a bit. I also have a job, believe it or not. I am a civil rights attorney here in the state of Missouri. And my job is to protect the civil rights of folks who live in our state, oftentimes against our government. And that's what our Attorney General should be doing for us. It's an extremely important position. I used to be an Assistant Attorney General of Missouri, and I know some of you are looking and you're just thinking, man, is he skipping a final in high school right now? I swear I'm not. I'm a real attorney. I've been practicing for a while. One of the big issues that I really focus on, and I think transparency is such an important one, is Missouri's Sunshine Law, which allows you and I to see what our government is doing with our money. I litigated a landmark decision all the way to Missouri Supreme Court, won a unanimous decision to allow you and I to see what our government is doing, to participate in public meetings, and to see where our money is going. As Attorney General, I will start Missouri's first civil rights division in the history of our state to protect all of our civil liberties. Most states already have one. Missouri needs to have one too. And as your Attorney General, I will start that division and make sure to enforce all of our civil rights here in the state. As Attorney General, I will start our first coordinated plan all over the state, working with prosecutors, with law enforcement officers, with community members to stop violent crime, to prevent it from happening in our communities, to make sure that our families are safe. We don't have one. We really need to. And the Attorney General's office is a great place to have a coordinated effort to protect our families. As Attorney General, I will bring back so much enforcement against these scammers that keep calling us all the time. We need real enforcement from that office so badly. You know, we really need to make consumer protection great again in the state of Missouri. We used to do it quite a bit. It's about time we bring it back. I'm running for Attorney General to sue scammers, including those in our government right now. You've heard from so many speakers today about all of the issues that we're seeing in Jefferson City, about folks who are set in their ways, about folks who are collecting money and getting rich while we're all sitting here and saying, what in the world, when is our voice going to be heard in our government? I think the most important role that the Attorney General can serve is to be our advocate and our attorney. You deserve to have your voice heard in your government. Bottom line, that's what you deserve. And as your Attorney General, I will make sure you have that. My name is Elad Gross, and I am running to be your Attorney General. Thank you all for the time.
Thank you very much. Shane Scholler, Secretary of State.
Good evening. It's great to be here. My name is Shane Scholler. I get the honor to serve as the county clerk in Greene County, Missouri, where I'm the chief election authority and the only election authority running this race. And I want to make sure every time you go to the ballot box to cast your ballot, you know that it's a secure, accurate, fair election. And those are not just words for me. Literally, my very first election as a county clerk back in 2015, we had a voter who decided to vote twice. We took that evidence to our sheriff. They did the investigation. The voter admitted that they did indeed vote twice. That then went to the prosecutor, and that voter was held accountable, exactly like they should have been. But it's also important that during my time as county clerk that we made sure that the photo ID was the real ID you check in with. When I became county clerk, you could use paper forms of documentation. During my time in the legislature, I passed a photo ID bill because we're going to make sure that the photo ID is what you're checking with and not those forms of documentation that are so easily counterfeited. Also, it's important that we have the paper ballot as the official ballot. I fought for that, not only as county clerk, but as president of our association in 2022 when the election integrity bill was passed. And I also worked to make sure that we acted rather than reacted and made sure no drop boxes came to our state like we saw in other states like Georgia and other places where we had problems with the drop boxes. But you know what I've learned during my time as county clerk? It is about we the people. It is about transparency and accountability. I'm going to give you an example of that. Back in 2020, we had a race for a state legislative seat where literally out of almost 18,000 ballots cast, we had 76 votes that separated the top two candidates. You know what I didn't do? I didn't board up the windows. I called the candidates. I called the party chairs. We invited the media, and we came together and did a good old-fashioned hand count, and we counted every single ballot before we certified that election. And you know what happened when we certified that election? People trusted the outcome because we made it public, we made it transparent, we made it accountable. And I want to make sure I can continue that for you as your Secretary of State. But it's also important that we fight to protect our businesses. Any business that starts in the state of Missouri is going to go through the Secretary of State's office. I want to make sure that we do that for them and help make sure there's no red tape and that's seamless and that they can do that the first day they come to the office. We also want to make sure that we fight to protect your investment dollars. That's another duty of the Secretary of State's office. Anytime someone is out there potentially preying on you as an investor, it's the duty of the Secretary of State to make sure and put a stop to that. It's absolutely critically important. But then our local libraries, for example, it's important that you know you are empowered to be on your local library board when those taxpayer dollars, your property tax dollars, are paying for your local library. We've seen too many things happen in our local libraries that people don't agree with, agendas that are being promoted, and folks, it is not top down, it is bottom up. It is about we, the people, and that's why it's important that you be part of your local library board, and we encourage that. I encourage that as a county clerk. I want people to come be election judges. I want Republicans, I want Democrats, I want them sitting together, making sure that we're working together on behalf of the people for accountability and integrity. I can only be in one place at one time, but you know what? Together, collectively, we can be there to make sure that we're working for the best outcome of the election. And that way, when there are questions, we can work with both Republicans and Democrats to make sure we get the best outcome. But you know, when I talk about we the people, I think back to the founding of our country. You remember the night Paul Revere rode and said the British are coming? Why was he doing that? He wasn't doing it so that they would go and hide, was he? He was doing it because he wanted them to stand and fight. He wanted them to stand and fight for their liberty. And folks, that is what we must do together. As your Secretary of State, I want to stand and fight for you for your liberty. I want to make sure our government is transparent. I want to make sure our government is accountable. I have a track record of that as county clerk, and I'm going to continue to do that for you as Secretary of State. That's why I'm asking you to vote this August 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. Adam Schwadron, Secretary of State.
Good evening, Cape Girardeau. How is everyone doing? It's good to be back. I was here just a couple months ago at the Lincoln Day dinner, so there's a few faces in here that I recognize, so good to see you here. My name is Adam Schwadron. I'm from St. Charles, and I'm running to be your next Secretary of State. I'm a two-term member of the House of Representatives, but I'm also a small business owner. I've done that since the end of 2010. I'm also a husband of 15 years, October 11th for those back here keeping track. Also a father to two beautiful girls who thankfully take after their mother. And of course, you've already heard a little bit from Mr. Scholler about some of the things that we've done, and it has been an absolute pleasure and an honor to serve on the House Elections Committee to ensure that we have hand-marked paper ballots, that we have banned drop boxes, that we have banned ballot harvesting, all of those things that are trying to be pushed upon us that we have taken care of and said we will not have in Missouri. In this race, I'm often asked, what is the proper role of government? And it's just 3 words: secure our liberties. And in this race, I have the highest conservative rating of anyone else running, a 90, through the American Conservative Union. My record shows that I am the conservative courageous enough to stand up and defend our Missouri values. But let me tell you, there's more work to be done. This past year, I sponsored legislation that would have your voter registration expire. No longer should we have our voting rolls bloated, filled with people that have long moved or died. Back in 2011, when my father passed away, he lived in St. Louis County. Don't hold that against me. I made sure he was removed because as a lifelong voting Republican, I think it might have killed him a second time had he found out he ended up voting for a Democrat. And that is why I proposed legislation that would have your voter registration expire the same time as your photo ID. We need to keep our voting rolls clean. Another thing that I sponsored this past year was non-citizen voting, ensuring that they do not have the opportunity to vote here in Missouri. And thankfully, one of the measures that we did pass this year will give you that opportunity to vote, to ban non-citizens from voting, because it should be citizens-only voting in the state of Missouri. A couple years ago, when the Democrats took over Congress, Nancy Pelosi and her team, the first bill they filed, their #1 priority was a bill that would federalize the elections. They wanted to implement all the things that we have banned. They wanted the drop boxes. They wanted the mail-in ballots. They wanted the harvesting. Well, in response, I wrote the Missouri Election Sovereignty Act, and that would tell the federal government that they do not have any opportunity to tell us how to run our elections, because in Missouri, our elections are ours to run, and I will use my size 15 boot to kick the federal government out of this state personally. You've also heard a bit about members being bought and paid for in the legislature or getting in line. This past October, I wrote to my caucus when I had a concern about the Speaker of the House. I said he needed to step aside while he was being investigated, and I suffered the consequences. Very few of my bills were referred. It was just a dog and pony show there. I am willing to stand up to power, tell truth to power. My name is Adam Schwadron. I'm running for Secretary of State. I'd appreciate your support and vote in August so that together we can fight for our shared Missouri values. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Tim Baker, Lieutenant Governor.
Pleasant good evening, everyone. I also would like to thank the Guardians of Liberty for hosting this event. It's a pleasure to come out and speak to everyone. As I said, my name is Tim Baker. I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. I'm from Franklin County. I'm a father of 4 beautiful daughters, married to my wife for going on 30 years, October 1st, for those keeping tabs. And I just got to celebrate the birth of our first grandchild, so I actually have a little more males in our family now, which is a wonderful thing. Well, my background is in manufacturing. My late parents and I used to run an ice manufacturing plant in Pacific for 48 years, where I learned from the values of what my father taught me was back to the basics, which is the whole principle behind my run for office, is keeping things simple, doing the simple things right, and things will fall into place. We sold in 2011, and with that, I ran for county commissioner, and I lost. Learned a lot, ran again for county commissioner, and lost. Ran a third time for county commissioner, and lost. Kept learning. Then somebody came to me and asked me to run for county clerk. And I said, no, I really don't want to run for county clerk. And the old adage is, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plan. So I ran for county clerk, won 67% of the vote, found out I love elections. Since I've been in office as a county clerk, I've actually taken my business background and my basic principles, what I've taught my office to keep everything basic. We've been able to secure our elections and keep our chain of custody of our ballots better and secure. And also, I've saved over $700,000 of real taxpayer money by ripping the Band-Aid off of things by two phrases that I absolutely hate. One, this is the way it's always been done. And two, if you don't use it, you lose it. With that, I go every year to my commissioners with a zero budget that I start up, and we go with what we need, not with what we want. And I will bring that same mentality to the Lieutenant Governor's office. The other thing that I've done since I've been in county office is that we've done a book that we actually got recognized by MAC, which was mentioned up here by the Association of Counties, that we received an award, one of 5 awards on our education for this book. I go out and I actually speak to 3rd and 4th grade students about civics in their classes. We're not only educating the students, we're educating the teachers as well, because there's a lot of people that don't understand what the county government does. But the two things I always tell them whenever we get done is, one, remember that you're at the top of the food chain. There are 4 million registered voters in the state of Missouri. There's only 1,300 elected officials. I say elected officials because I know that I work for you. I do not like the word politician. That's a dirty word in my opinion. The other thing I always tell them is that always, always remember that we are a republic, not a democracy. And if you ever forget that, stand up and say the pledge. To the republic for which I stand, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under God is the basis of our whole foundation that is cracked right now, and we need to get back to that. We need godly people in office that know the value of everything that we need to do. One of the other things that I will talk on real quick is one of the things that I'm asked, what would you do as Lieutenant Governor, is I'm really big into the Buy Missouri program. Buy Missouri is basically shop local. And as a manufacturer, that's something near and dear to me. Back in 1994, my parents were looking to build a new plant. We went from a 76-ton to a 200-ton plant. We were going from 12 to 32 full-time employees. My father went to a legislator and said, what can you do to help us? They said, move your plant out of the state for 1 year, come back and we'll give you $50,000 for every full-time job you give them. That's wrong. We need to help people that are already here today and not constantly give away the farm on what we can do. I'd like to start working with our local mom and pops, which are another foundation of our backbone of our country, and bringing back business to Missouri and working with rural Missouri in particular. My name's Tim Baker. I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. I appreciate your support and vote August 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Paul Berry III, Lieutenant Governor.
If I come back to Cape Girardeau one more time, they're going to call me Boot Hill Barry. Paul Berry III. Before I get started, and since we have the extended 4 minutes, I want you guys to know that Tim Baker's a great man. As the clerk of Franklin County, I'm going to tell you, if I wasn't in this election, I'd vote for him, because he truly is a good man. For those of you that don't know me, I am Paul Berry III, and I am from the Democrat Republic of St. Louis County. Where they like to shut it down and they want to merge our counties with the city and they want to tell us that schools are working, they aren't working. And if you take a map and you overlay failed schools on the crime and the drugs, gosh darn it, they're 1-to-1. For those of you that don't know who I am, 5 words to describe myself. Number 1, I'm a Christian. Number 2, I'm a patriot. 2.5, because I was supposed to put it before that, I'm a father of 5 daughters. I'm a constitutionalist, and I am a bloody capitalist. I do believe that this country gives you the opportunity to frame the life not only for yourself, but your children and your legacy. The issue with this lieutenant governor's election is that I look around and I never see your home senator, no matter where I go. And I've put out APBs like the big old Batman sign, and I would just like us to be on the stage so we can have a comparison of ideas. That's why I have so much respect for Mr. Baker, because I see him everywhere. But the problem is, then why you don't see any of my other opponents is they feel like they can buy the election. They don't want to get in front of you. They don't want you to listen. They don't want to have to go back and forth. They want what they call, I believe the youngsters call participation trophies. My plan as your lieutenant governor is very simple. I'm going to get picked up every morning in the state car, and I'm going to get into the business for you guys. Peter Kinder, who is my mentor, who recruited me to the Republican Party over a decade ago, when I asked him, what does the lieutenant governor do except give out resolutions at elementary schools? And he told me that you have to form the job for the needs of Missouri for the day. It's not a position where you're the Secretary of State and you got elections, or you're the AG and you're filing lawsuits. You're an ambassador, not only between Republicans and Democrats and conservative caucus versus establishment Republicans, but you are an ambassador on behalf of the state everywhere. Whether it's getting into Caribbean islands in Africa to figure out how we could do more trade with them with our farming, or figuring out border solutions with our fentanyl crisis and our border security. I am upset that the mayor of Kansas City and the mayor of City of St. Louis believes that we should be a destination for immigrants. I love immigrants. Put the word legal in front of it and we have no problem. But how are we going to fix Missouri if we're not taking care of what I call Missouri First? Now, some want to say that's some sort of racist statement. But the Missouri First, I'm talking about fixing past. What I'm going to do, and what you guys already know me for, is to get into St. Louis, get into Kansas City, because they are our citizens just like everybody else. Now, I have the ability to move because I have the resources, but you know what? I'm in a 4-3 defense, and I'm the Mike linebacker. I'm ready to tackle. This election, you have a choice. You can vote for Holly Rader. You can vote for Lincoln Huff. You can vote for David, whatever his name is, who just pops up with $100 million. Or you can fight for the person that's going to take on Cori Bush and all these liberals that are destroying America. Thank you and God bless. Paul Berry III.
Thank you, Paul. Anastasia Size, Lieutenant Governor.
Protocol has been established. Thank you, Liberty, for the invitation, and thank you, Church, for the invitation. My name is Anastasia Zayas. I want you to help me. When I raise my hand, say under attack. I like participation. I like to see who hear me. I am a human rights consultant. I am running for Lieutenant Governor because you are not a status quo. You are not an object, and you are not a dollar sign. Your human rights are under attack. They need to listen to you, the people. The Constitution was written for the people, by the people. It does not need to be changed. You are Your water is, your land has erosion from World War II, and your children, they are trying to remove books out of school and make them have blue light syndrome, and their eyes are, their brains are, and we need to do something about it. We need to vote so that people can live their lives with free will and free choices, not by legislation control. We are what? And that's why I'm running for your Lieutenant Governor. It's time out for the bureaucracy, and it's time to recreate trust and bring unity, togetherness across political party lines, because we all are one state and we all are. My name's Anastasia Size, and I'm running for your Lieutenant Governor. I'm big on environmental issues, and we have a lot of them here in this state. I'm big on constitutional rights, and we have a lot of them here, issues of constitutional rights in this state. We need prison reform, and not just sending people to wreck and playing games and locking them up, feeding them 3 meals a day. We need preventative measures to where they can come home and live like citizens should live, and not just reinvent the wheel and circle and keep going back to jail. We need our farmlands to be bought by Missourians and not by Asians that are bringing fentanyl here, killing everybody. Thousands of people are dying daily from the fentanyl overdose, and our present governor is selling all our land to the Asians. But yet they want to say we need to protect the border when we have immigrants working here from $19 to $35 an hour, and they send it home and they're not citizens, and our minimum wage is $12.30 an hour. Our finances are. Thank you for your time. Vote for me on August 6th.
Thank you, Anastasia. Bill Eigel, candidate for governor.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Bill Eigel. I'm running to be your next governor. Let's go, Missouri. And also good news, I'm the last speaker of the night, so I'm the only thing standing in between you and the exit, so I'll take a round of applause for that. All right, thank you very much. I know, thank you. There we go, we got a couple claps. Listen, folks, I'm running to be your next governor because more than anything else, I think that Jefferson City needs a reckoning. We need a reckoning for all the politicians down there that for year after year, after cycle, keep promising all these big red Republican ideas, and then they go down to Jefferson City and they just do something else. And because of that, it seems like right now Missouri's in a rut. Missouri's stagnating and suffocating and falling behind all the other big red states that are doing big red Republican things and leaving us behind. And I've traveled around this state, put 70,000 miles on my truck, talking to folks all over the state, in our rural areas, in our urban areas, in our suburban areas, and they all tell me the same thing, that they're frustrated, they're disappointed, they're angry, they're tired of these supermajorities of Republicans that never seem to get anything done, just like we saw in the most recent legislative session. And if you find yourself tired of the do-nothing, go-along, get-along Republicans, then I want you to know you're not alone. There are millions of Missourians and Republicans around this state that are going to make this the year that we finally deliver the Missouri that the people of this state have been asking for every 2 years on the first Tuesday in November. It's going to be a Missouri that I'm asking you to think about and dedicate your vote to, that's going to lead this country, that's going to lead every other state in this union on policy that will defend our rights and will put Missouri at the top of the map. And what does that Missouri look like? Let me share with you. Number one, under an Eigel administration, I commit to you right now, we're getting rid of personal property tax, folks. You're not going to have to pay rent for your car to the government every December 1st anymore. 29 states have already done it. We're going to be number 30. How about protecting the farmland in this state? I'm the only candidate for governor that doesn't support even 1 square inch being sold of our farmland to any foreign country, China or otherwise. Missouri ought to be owned by Missourians, or at least Americans. And what about illegal immigration? We have more than 70,000 illegal immigrants in this state right now. Well, I want you to know I'm the only candidate for governor that's going to declare an invasion under Article 4 of the Constitution, and we're going to implement a policy that I call detain and deport. And if I have to use some of those extra dollars down in Jefferson City to buy a fleet of buses and drive the buses myself, we're going to move every person that's here illegally back to the port of entry, and we're going to take our state back, folks. That's the Missouri that I'm talking about. Now, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of folks down in Jefferson City that are terrified of the idea of an Eigel administration because they know when I get in there on your behalf, their grift is coming to an end. The big ideas that you've always gotten promised for all these years are finally going to become a reality because we're going to have a little bit of leadership in the governor's mansion of this state. Not someone that stands by when the legislature fails to pass initiative petition reform, not stands by when our budget more than doubles in the span of 5 years. We're going to be leading this country. So as I leave you tonight, when you hear all those voices of fear cry out from Jefferson City hallways, don't be afraid. Don't buy into the idea that we can't take our country back because the people in Jefferson City can't imagine the Missouri that I'm talking about, that one day all those governors and those other big red states are going to wake up and turn their TVs on, and they're going to say to themselves, how do we be more like the state of Missouri? So remember, I'll leave you tonight with one of my favorite passages from the Bible, Joshua chapter 1, verse 9. Have I not commanded thee? Don't be afraid. Don't be dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you shall go. Let's go, Missouri. God bless each and every one of you. Good night, everybody. Let's go, Missouri.
Oh, wow. How about that, you guys? What a presentation. My goodness. And you know what? did you realize they all stayed under, we didn't have to cut the mic, but maybe close one time. Thank you all very much. That's pretty cool. You were scared? Who said that? All righty. Are there other candidates in the room who just showed up tonight? It's kind of hard to see out there with this light. So would you please announce yourself? Who are you back there? Michael Davis, House District 147. Okay, any other candidates out there? I saw Cody Thompson. He introduced himself to me, and he's running for County Commissioner, District 1. Yes. I know yes, Rex. Rex Meyer, County Commissioner, District 1. Okay, anyone else? Okay, right? Okay. Thank you all very much. Just a few reminders. We have T-shirts in the back, in the foyer out there, depending on what size you have, what we have available left. Please see Carol back there. There are also donation boxes. If you had all thought that this was something, if you got a penny in your pocket or something and it's on your heart, we would appreciate any help with that. We have been meeting, several of us have been meeting for over 3.5 years. And our goal is to engage you, talk with you, and then educate you, and then empower you to take a stand. Have you learned something tonight? Mission accomplished. We will now start our summer series. We have been meeting weekly, but we will start our summer series the month of June, July, and August. We will only meet once a month. We have incredible speakers. Those are on the back of your program. If you would like to sign up for our weekly newsletter, our email address is on the back of the program. After the closing prayer, the candidates will proceed directly to their tables. Please, as a voter, please take time to visit the candidates. I'm sure you made your notes, your mental notes, physical notes, whatever. Please take the time to visit them. And also another very important reminder, please mark August 6th on your calendar and go vote. Again, we thank each one of you for coming. We thank Rock of Cape Church for opening your doors for this event. And we couldn't have done it without all the volunteers. Volunteers, go ahead and stand up. Every volunteer that helped from the moment you got in. Look at them all. Look at them all. Wonderful. Woo! Look. That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, Pastor Carball.
Would you all stand with me as I close in prayer today? Lord Jesus, we thank you for guiding us and instructing us. We thank you for your Holy Spirit coming and speaking to our hearts, because we know that when righteous people are in authority, there's peace among the people. And Lord, we thank you that today and tonight that there's a fighting spirit within this place that's rising to the occasion in each one of the hearts of these candidates, Lord. And I ask your favor and blessing to come down upon them, and also for the Guardians of Liberty, Lord. We thank you for what you have done in their hearts and stirred them and their commitment to the task at hand. Lord, bless every person here. Keep them safe in their travels. And I'll give you the praise and glory for it in Jesus' name. And everybody said, Amen. You're dismissed.
All right, candidates, please go to your respective areas, and may God bless each and every one of you. God bless Cape Girardeau County, this state, and this nation.
Great job.
Yes, thank you so
Great
much.
job.
This was phenomenal. That
Good.
turnout was wild.
Good.
I'll be reaching out soon, okay?
We had 100. Are you going to set up at a table? Did you bring candidates?
Actually, I'm going to make a few handshakes and I have to get back to St. Louis. I went to work 4 o'clock this